I still remember the exact moment I realized I couldn't keep going like this. I was 100 kilograms, more than 220 pounds, and barely 20 years old. At that weight, it wasn't just about the size anymore. It was the breathlessness after walking a single flight of stairs, the shirts that never fit right, the constant tug at the bottom of my t-shirt every time I sat down, trying to cover what I didn't want others to see. And worst of all, it was the mental weight, the quiet shame, the social withdrawal, the inner voice that never stopped reminding me, you're not enough. Growing up, I had always been on the heavier side. But like many people, I brushed it off, until one day, I couldn't anymore. I caught a reflection of myself walking past a glass window. I wasn't shocked because I didn't know I was overweight. I was shocked because, for the first time, I saw myself. And I barely recognized the person staring back. That moment wasn't dramatic. There were no tears or grand gestures. Just silence. But it was in that silence that something shifted. I told myself, you've been stuck in your own body long enough. Now let's get out. The first lesson, food isn't the enemy, but it can be a trap. Before anything else, I had to confront the one thing I had the least control over, my eating habits. Back then, my meals were built around comfort. Fried foods, processed snacks, sugary drinks, and heavy meat-based dishes, especially red meat, were staples of my diet. I wasn't eating because I was hungry. I was eating because it felt good. It numbed me. It filled emotional gaps I didn't know I had. What I didn't understand at the time was how this kind of diet messes with the body on a chemical level. High intake of saturated fats and processed oils doesn't just increase cholesterol. It literally rewires your hunger hormones. According to a 2012 study by Drive David Cummings, excess LDL, bad cholesterol, affects two key hormones, ghrelin, the hunger hormone, and leptin, the satiety hormone. Basically, the more junk food you eat, the hungrier you feel, and the less satisfied you are, even if you're full. So yes, food was my comfort, but it was also my trap. Failing forward, every wrong diet that taught me something. I started trying different diets. Intermittent fasting, carb cutting, eating just 2 meals a day. You name it, I tried it. And failed. The problem wasn't the diets themselves. It was that none of them fit me. My body was large, and it needed energy to function. Going for 16 hours without food didn't make me feel lighter. It made me dizzy, sluggish, and mentally drained. Cutting out carbs led to mood swings and poor workout performance. I even reached a point where my body began showing signs of metabolic imbalance. That's when I stopped chasing shortcuts and started learning about calories, the only real currency of fat loss. Calorie in, calorie out, the uncomplicated truth. Turns out, I didn't need magic. I just needed math. Weight loss, at its core, is about burning more calories than you consume. This isn't just a theory, it's basic human biology. Every day, your body burns a certain number of calories through breathing, moving, thinking, and existing. If you eat less than that amount, you lose weight. If you eat more, you gain weight. Let's say I needed 2,000 calories per day to maintain my weight. If I consistently ate 1,500 calories, my body would burn the remaining 500 from stored fat. It's that simple. So I started tracking, not obsessively, but consciously. I didn't cut out any specific food group. I didn't ban bread or fear sugar. I just reduced portion sizes, chose leaner options, and stayed mindful of my total intake. And it worked. The mental battle, you versus you. But let's not sugarcoat this. It wasn't easy. There were cravings. There were days I slipped. Days I felt like giving up. But I kept going, not because I was always motivated, but because I finally understood something. Motivation gets you started. Discipline keeps you going. The first 10 kilograms were the hardest. Not because they took the longest, but because they required a total mental shift. I had to stop seeing myself as a victim of genetics, stress, or circumstance. I had to take ownership. And that hurt. But it also healed me. When I first walked into a gym, I didn't feel powerful. I felt like an outsider. Every dumbbell looked too heavy. Every treadmill too fast. Every reflection in the mirror reminded me of how far I still had to go. At 100 kilograms, movement wasn't just uncomfortable, it was intimidating. Most people assume that the best way to lose weight is cardio. Run until the fat melts off. So that's where I started, walking, then jogging, then trying to run. But I didn't enjoy it. In fact, I dreaded every session. My joints ached. My breath shortened quickly. Every step felt like punishment. Then one day, out of sheer curiosity, I picked up a dumbbell. It was heavy, sure, but something clicked. Lifting gave me structure. It gave me numbers to chase. It gave me something other than a scale to measure progress. More importantly, it gave me back control. The science behind strength. Lifting weights isn't just for bodybuilders. In fact, if your goal is fat loss, resistance training might just be your best friend. Here's why. EPIC, excess post-exercise oxygen consumption. Unlike cardio, which burns calories only while you're moving, weight training keeps your body burning calories after your workout. Your muscles continue to repair and rebuild for hours, or even days, after a session. Muscle fat. In metabolism, muscle tissue burns more calories at rest than fat tissue. So by building muscle, you're effectively increasing your metabolism. That means you burn more calories even when you're just sitting. Strength equals confidence. The mental benefits of lifting are massive. There's something primal and empowering about conquering your limits. Each time you lift heavier, you rewrite the narrative your brain has been stuck in. You can't. In a long-term Harvard study involving over 10,000 men, those who added at least 20 minutes of strength training daily lost more fat and retained more lean muscle than those who only did cardio. That was all the proof I needed. Breaking the cardio myth. Don't get me wrong, cardio has its place. It's great for heart health and burning calories. But for me, traditional cardio like running or cycling never clicked. I didn't feel joy doing it. And when you don't enjoy something, you don't sustain it. So I pivoted. Instead of forcing myself to run, I found a happy middle ground. Incline walking. According to studies in the Journal of Applied Physiology, walking on a treadmill with a 10 to 15% incline can burn nearly double the calories compared to walking on a flat surface. And because it's low impact, it's gentle on your joints, especially when you're heavier. I made it a ritual. Every week, 3 sessions of weight training and 2 incline walks. No fancy equipment. No extreme routines. Just consistency. Discipline, not perfection. When people think about gym life, they often imagine loud music, personal trainers, and shredded bodies. But in reality, most of my progress happened in silence. Alone, repeating the same basic movements. Failing, resting, trying again. At first, I was self-conscious. I didn't want people to see me struggle. I avoided eye contact. I trained during quiet hours. But as my strength grew, so did my confidence. I started asking for feedback. I accepted correction. I found people who were willing to guide me without judgment, and I listened. There's a moment, somewhere between your 50th and 100th workout, when something shifts. You stop training just to look different, and start training because you feel different. Measuring progress without the scale. One of the most underrated things about lifting is that it gives you metrics that the bathroom scale never can. How many reps did I hit this week? Did I add more weight? Is my posture improving? Do I recover faster? These became my victories. Even when my weight plateaued, I could still track growth, and that kept me going. When you're trying to lose weight, especially from something as high as 100 kilograms, it's easy to think the answer lies in doing more. More workouts, more cardio, more restriction. For a while, I fell into that trap. I thought if I wasn't sweating, aching, or pushing myself to the brink, I wasn't trying hard enough. But somewhere between the workouts, the meal preps, and the scale checks, I hit a wall. My energy dropped. My mood swung wildly. My progress stalled. I wasn't gaining muscle or losing fat. I was just tired. That's when I learned the most underrated truth in fitness. Rest is not the opposite of progress. It's part of it. Sleep, the missing link in fat loss. Most people underestimate just how important sleep is in a weight loss journey. I did too. I used to think of sleep as a luxury. Something flexible. Something I could cut short when I wanted to squeeze in an early workout or stay up watching one more episode. But when I started tracking my sleep and noticing how it impacted my training and hunger, it became clear sleep wasn't optional. It was essential. A study from the University of Chicago found that people who slept only 4 to 5 hours a night burned up to 400 fewer calories per day compared to those who slept a full 7 to 8 hours, even if their diet and exercise were identical. Worse still, sleep deprivation messes with 2 key hormones. Ghrelin, the hunger hormone, spikes, making you crave food. Leptin, the fullness hormone, drops. So even when you eat, you don't feel satisfied. Sound familiar? That's what leads to late-night snacking, poor food choices, and overeating, all sabotaging your hard work in the gym. So I made a decision. I stopped glorifying hustle culture and started prioritizing rest. My goal wasn't just 7 hours of sleep. It was quality sleep, dark room, no screens before bed, consistent sleep schedule. It took effort, but the payoff was huge. Better energy, sharper focus, and faster fat loss. Recovery isn't wasted time, but rest goes beyond sleep. It also means listening to your body. There were days I wanted to train, but my joints ached. My muscles felt heavy. My mind wasn't in it. In the past, I would have pushed through anyway, thinking that rest was weakness. But now I knew better. I learned about recovery days and deload weeks, intentional breaks where you reduce workout intensity to allow your body to heal. Ironically, these breaks didn't slow me down. They made me stronger. Your muscles don't grow during workouts. They grow during recovery. That soreness you feel after lifting? It's a sign of microscopic muscle damage. That's good, but only if you give your body time to rebuild. Now, instead of pushing through pain, I schedule at least one full rest day a week, and every 4 to 6 weeks, I take a deload week, lowering weights, reducing volume, focusing on stretching and mobility. The result? Fewer injuries, more consistency, and better long-term progress. The power of muscle recovery and massage. One more thing I didn't expect, the power of massage. As my lifting weights increased, 60 to 100 kilograms on upper body, up to 110 kilograms on legs, muscle fatigue and tightness became daily issues. I started exploring post-workout recovery methods and came across deep tissue massage and active stretching. According to research from the American Massage Therapy Association, regular massage improves blood circulation, reduces cortisol, the stress hormone that contributes to belly fat, speeds up muscle repair, enhances metabolism. I couldn't afford a weekly massage, but I treated myself to one every 2 weeks. On off weeks, I spent 5 to 10 minutes after each session doing basic stretching. It wasn't fancy, but it was effective. Recovery stopped being an afterthought and became part of my ritual. The psychological reset. Beyond the physical, rest helped with something even more important, my mindset. When you're constantly pushing, tracking, and optimizing, fitness can become exhausting. Rest days gave me a chance to step back, breathe, and reconnect with my why. I wasn't doing this to punish myself. I was doing it because I deserved to feel better, stronger, lighter, not just in weight, but in spirit. By the time I had dropped from 100 kilograms to the mid-70s, you'd think the hardest part was behind me. But the truth? The final stretch, from 75 kilograms down to 70 kilograms, was mentally the most difficult. Physically, I was stronger than ever. My workouts were consistent. My eating was controlled. My habits were locked in. And yet, the progress slowed. The excitement faded. The mental chatter got louder. Why isn't the scale moving? You've come so far. Why push more? What if this is your limit? This phase taught me that weight loss isn't just a physical journey. It's an emotional war. And in the final stage, the battlefield is in your mind. The plateau is real, and I got stuck. When I hit 72 kilograms, it was like slamming into an invisible wall. For over a month, my weight barely moved. I double-checked everything: calorie intake, workouts, recovery. It all seemed right. But the scale didn't care. That's when I learned about the set point theory, the idea that your body has a comfort zone where it naturally wants to stay. Once you drop far enough below it, your metabolism slows, hunger increases, and fat loss becomes exponentially harder. I wasn't doing anything wrong. My body was just trying to protect itself. Still, it was frustrating. That period was full of self-doubt, second-guessing, and the constant temptation to give up. After all, I looked healthier. I felt better. Wasn't that enough? Lesson 2. External transformation requires internal alignment. What got me through that plateau wasn't a new supplement or a secret diet trick. It was a mindset shift. I realized I needed to stop chasing a number and start focusing on a standard. Instead of saying, I need to weigh 70 kilograms, I started asking, am I stronger this week than last? Did I feel my body well today? Did I show up even when I didn't feel like it? That shift gave me my power back. Because numbers are out of your control. But effort? That's 100% yours. In this phase, I also let go of shame. In the past, if I had a bad meal or missed a workout, I'd spiral. Now, I treated setbacks as data, not drama. I stopped punishing myself for being human and started practicing what I now call graceful discipline, firm in standards, gentle in self-talk. Asking for help wasn't weakness. It was strength. Another major turning point? I stopped being silent. During the early parts of my journey, I tried to do everything alone. I avoided eye contact at the gym. I never asked for tips. I assumed people were judging me. But in this plateau phase, I opened up. I reached out to a few experienced lifters. I asked questions. I let people see me try and fail. And to my surprise, they didn't mock me, they helped me. I found mentors in the gym, real people who had been where I was. They offered encouragement, corrected my form, shared nutrition tips, and even gave me a few laughs when I needed them most. And here's the thing. You don't need a coach or personal trainer to succeed. But you do need community. Whether it's one gym buddy, an online support group, or even a friend who checks in on your goals, don't isolate yourself. Progress happens faster when you're not alone. The final push. To finally break through from 72 kilograms to 70 kilograms, I didn't overhaul everything. I made a few small, sustainable tweaks. Increased protein intake slightly to preserve lean muscle. Added one more incline walk per week. Improved sleep hygiene by eliminating screens 1 hour before bed. Focused more on mobility and recovery to improve training quality. And I gave myself time. I didn't rush. I trusted the process. Eventually, the scale dropped. Slowly, but surely. But by then, it wasn't even about the number anymore. It was about proving to myself that I could finish what I started. When I finally saw 70.0 flash on the scale, I thought I'd cry. For a second, I did. 3 years of learning, sweating, calculating calories, questioning myself, fixing form, dragging my body out of bed on cold mornings. All of it felt validated in one quiet, personal moment. I had done it. But here's what no one warns you about. After the celebration fades, you wake up the next day and realize you're still you. The number's different. The reflection changes. People compliment you. But inside, there's still noise. Still insecurity. Still that voice whispering, now what? Lesson 3. You don't just lose weight. You lose an identity. For most of my life, I had been the big guy. It shaped how people saw me, and more painfully, how I saw myself. Being overweight became a part of my personality. I was the funny friend who joked about his size before others could. I wore black clothes not because I liked them, but because they slimmed me down. I never thought of myself as athletic, confident, deserving of attention. Then suddenly, I wasn't the big guy anymore. But that didn't mean I instantly became the confident guy, either. It's jarring when your body changes faster than your mindset. You look in the mirror and expect to feel proud, but instead, you sometimes feel lost. Who am I now? Am I enough yet? Will this last? That's when I realized, sustainable transformation isn't physical, it's emotional. Your body might reach its goal weight before your mind is ready to believe it deserves to be there. And so, the real journey begins after the weight is gone. Maintenance is a different kind of discipline. When you're losing weight, everything feels like forward motion. Every kilo dropped is a win. Every inch lost is validation. But once you reach your goal, the external victories slow down. There's no dramatic reveal anymore. And for someone who was addicted to progress, that was a hard pill to swallow. Maintenance isn't exciting. It's consistency without applause. It's showing up without transformation. It's managing your body like a garden, trimming, watering, adjusting, rather than rebuilding it from scratch. I had to rewire my motivation. From chasing numbers to chasing balance. From proving people wrong to showing up for me. From fixing myself to respecting myself. Loving the process more than the outcome. One of the biggest lies I believed was, when I'm fit, I'll finally be happy. But here's what I learned after hitting 70 kilograms. You don't magically become more confident. You have to build that, rep by rep, choice by choice. You don't suddenly love your body. You learn to appreciate it, flaws and all. You don't stop feeling fear. You just stop letting it control you. The real reward of this journey wasn't the weight I lost. It was the respect I gained for myself. I learned how to take care of my body, fuel it, challenge it, rest it, and most importantly, listen to it. And that, to me, is freedom. What I want you to know, if you're at the beginning of your journey or stuck somewhere in the messy middle, remember this. You are not a number. You are not your worst photo. You are not lazy, broken, or hopeless. You're just someone who hasn't been shown how to fight for yourself yet. Start small. Eat a little better. Move a little more. Sleep a little deeper. Forgive yourself a little faster. Then repeat. You don't need the perfect plan. You need a reason. And once you find that, the kind that makes you get up on a bad day, nothing will stop you.